All right, guys, welcome back. In these next 4 videos, we're going to be talking about money scripts. And the first one of those we're going to talk about is money avoidance. So as I go through each of these money scripts, what you're going to see is kind of interesting. You're either going to recognize some of these traits within yourself, or more likely, you'll probably also recognize them in other people. So you say, oh yeah, so-and-so is exactly like this to a T. And it's really common, especially with parents or siblings or friends, people that you're really close with and you've been around for a while. And so just take note of those observations, but especially within yourself. And at the end, I'll give you a link where you can go take a test, essentially, that kind of tells you what your predominant money scripts are. So that link will be included here below the video. So what is money avoidance? So money avoidance is systematically, we avoid dealing with money while also rejecting personal responsibility for financial health. So we don't like to look at our credit card bill. We don't like to look at our spending. We spend money and hope it works out in the future. But if anybody talks to us about it, it's too stressful. We just don't like having conversations, so we shut it down. And so these people, they really avoid taking any responsibility, personal responsibility for what's happening with their money, and they tend to cast blame on other people, right? Like the system or the government or rich people or whatever. So they blame others for their own money problems, and then they also don't necessarily believe, they believe that money is like a source of evil, like it's bad, and so they don't need to think about it, like it's not an important part of their life. So it's really common among young people. They found that younger people have this trait more commonly than older people. And, they think that generally speaking, that's because we can, as younger people, we can avoid we can put these financial matters off for a while, just kind of live our life aloof to, our financial situation. And then at some point, there's usually like a financial flashpoint, what they're called, where we become suddenly aware that we actually have to address these issues, and that it can be really, really difficult. So a lot of people, that happens like they're getting old and they decide they want to retire, and oh shoot, like now I should think about a plan. That's the vast majority of people. So they just really don't like having those conversations with spouses. It causes a ton of problems because if they want to address a problem, they just shut it down or they cast blame. So it can be really, really difficult. They also have an interesting contradiction where they hate money, but they also wish they had more of it. Really interesting trait. So here's some common examples or phrases that you might hear or that you might say to yourself. So I do not deserve a lot of money when others have less than me. Rich people are greedy. People get rich by taking advantage of others or by being dishonest or by skirting the rules. And, they think I'm better than that. And so it's okay if I don't become rich because I'm not going to be dishonest. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to take advantage of other people. And so I guess I'll just stay poor, or not think about money because it's not important, right? Money corrupts people, and there's virtue in living with less money. I can live a more fulfilled life if I have less money. So why would I have money? It's not good anyways. So those are some of the common kind of characteristics of money avoidance. So obviously you can see how this as a predominant trait might cause problems and be really difficult to overcome. Really, really difficult. And so it's important as you kind of think through and say, hey, we all have some of these traits, okay? And you might go in phases and at different stages of life exemplify more of these traits than others. But it's really important to look inside yourself and say, hey, do I avoid having the hard conversations about money? Do I avoid taking responsibility for my financial situation, right? Do I blame others for my financial situation? Do I blame my boss at work that won't give me a raise? Or do I blame the stock market for, being so volatile that I can't invest? Or do I blame the banks for just gutting people, or corporations for not caring about, paying salaries and just caring about profits? All these things. Am I blaming everything besides myself for my own financial situation to the point where what's the use of talking about it? What's the use of having a conversation? What's the use of trying to solve this? So you can see a lot of that out today in social media, like on Twitter or Reddit or any of these other places. You can see this is a very predominant attitude, specifically among young people and also among people of lower socioeconomic status. That's just kind of, they were raised in it it's a very scarcity mindset, and they were kind of raised in it, and that's what they believe. And so they can keep themselves down from progressing because of that. So that's the first one. Next one we're going to jump into is coming right up.
Awareness is the first step.